Well, guys, we have discussed all concepts of trial balance, the purpose to prepare trial balance, different methods to prepare trial balance, different forms in which trial balance can be presented, and now we'll come to the last part of the chapter, numericals based on trial balance. Well, before starting with the numericals of trial balance, we'll have a quick recap. All expenses will be recorded on debit side of trial balance. All incomes will be recorded on credit side of trial balance. All assets will be recorded on debit side of trial balance. All liabilities will be recorded on credit side of trial balance. So dear students, now we'll start with the numericals based on trial balance. I'll just go through the first question. From the given information, prepare a trial balance of Praveen Patel as on 31st March 16. Opening stock, wages, sales, repairs, tax, land and building, plant and machinery, electricity expenses, capital, office salary, patents, bank balance, bank loan, carriage inward, purchases, carriage outward, debtors, cash balance, loose tools, creditors, sundry incomes, office furniture and goodwill. So based on this, we'll prepare a trial balance. Now here they have not specified in the question with regard to form in which you will prepare trial balance. So either you can go by an account form or you can prepare by a statement form. We will present this trial balance in a statement form, guys. So opening stock, it will come on debit side. It is a asset 7440. Wages is a expense, debit side 4000. Sales is a income, credit side 48,000. Repairing expense, debit side 800. Tax, again it is a expense, debit side 600. Land and building is a non-current asset, debit side 2400. Plant and machinery, again it is a non-current asset, debit side 3000. Electricity expense is a expense, debit side 920. Capital, credit side 16,000. Office salary, debit side 1,000. Patent is an intangible asset, debit side 400. Bank balance is a current asset, debit side 1800. Bank loan is a liability, credit side 1760. Carriage inward is a expense, debit side 1200. Purchases, again it is a expense, debit side 30,000. Carriage outward, again it is a expense, debit side 600. Debtors, current asset, debit side 8,000. Cash balance, current asset, debit side 80. Loose tools, they are assets, guys, debit side 720. Creditors, liabilities, credit side 3200. Sundry incomes, credit side 240. Office furniture is a non-current asset, debit side 240. And goodwill, again it is a intangible asset, debit side 6000. Well, if you take the debit total of the trial balance, it will come 69,200. And if you take the credit total of the trial balance, it will be 69,200. So our trial balance matches. We'll see the next question now. From the following balances of accounts, prepare a trial balance of Sri Brij Mohan as on 31st March 2016. They've given opening stock, freehold assets, debtors, factory expenses, purchase of raw materials, factory rent, discount allowed, creditors, bad debts reserve, commission paid, office expense, traveling expense, bank balance, loan borrowed, net sales, plant and machinery, wages, carriage inward, royalty, carriage outward, capital, discount received, insurance, commission received, bad debts, salary, legal expense, cash balance and office rent. So again guys, here in this question they have not specified the format in which we have to prepare trial balance. We will present this trial balance in a account form now. Opening stock is a asset debit side, freehold assets debit side, debtors current asset debit side 6,000, factory expense debit side 800, purchase of raw materials expense debit side 7,500, factory rent is a expense debit side 700, discount allowed is a expense debit side 400, creditors is a liability credit side 2,000, bad debts reserves, you know all reserves are credited since they are created out of profits. So bad debts reserve credit side 150, commission paid is a expense debit side 500, office expense is a expense debit side 750, traveling expense debit side 100, bank balance is a current asset debit side 420, loan borrowed is a liability credit side 3,000, net sales income credit side 33,000, plant and machinery non-current asset debit side 4,500, wages is a expense debit side 1,000, carriage inward is a expense debit side 90, royalty is a expense debit side 100, carriage outward is a expense debit side 100, capital is a liability credit side 8,000, discount received is a income credit side 360, insurance is a expense debit side 200, commission received is a income credit side 1,500, bad debts is a loss and losses are debited debit side 150, salary is a expense debit side 1,000, legal expense is a expense debit side 100, cash balance is a current asset debit side 400 and office rent is a expense debit side 400. If you take the debit total of trial balance, it will be 48,010, 48,010. And now if you take the credit total of the trial balance, again it will come 48,010. So our total of trial balance, both the sides matches. Dear students, we'll start with the next question. Trial balance prepared by Vallabh is as follows. If any error lies in it, prepare a modified trial balance and give reasons for it. Well, they have given opening stock, sales, sales returns, wages and salary, bills receivables, debtors, rent, cash, creditors and closing stock. These items are given on debit side of trial balance. On credit side, capital, discount allowed, commission received, fixed assets, purchase, purchase returns, carriage inward, carriage outward, bills payable and interest paid. So this is an incorrect trial balance from which we have to prepare a correct modified trial balance, rectified trial balance. Well, here also they have not given the format in which you have to prepare present trial balance. So guys, we will present in a account form. Well, if we prepare a rectified trial balance, debit side opening stock 6,000, it's an asset. Sales will come on credit side, it's a income 86,000. Sales returns will come on debit side 4,000. Wages and salaries debit side 31,000. Bills receivable are current asset debit side 8,000. Debtors current asset debit side 10,000. Rent, only rent is given, that means rent paid, it becomes an expense debit side 4,000. Cash is a current asset debit side 1,800. Creditors is a liability credit side 7,900. Closing stock they have given on debit side 34,800. Now guys, closing stock is a adjustment. Since closing stock is an adjustment, it does not form part of trial balance and we have to ignore closing stock while preparing trial balance. So do remember students that closing stock will not be included in trial balance since it is a part of adjustments. Well, credit side, capital will come on credit side 61,000. Discount allowed is an expense debit side 1,500. Commission received is the income credit side 1,700. Fixed assets are non-current assets debit side 61,000. Purchases expense debit side 46,000. Purchase returns will come on credit side 3,000. Carriage inward debit side it's a expense 1,600. Carriage outward again it is a expense debit side 1,700. Bills payable is a liability credit side 13,000 and interest paid is a expense debit side 3,000. Well, now if you take the debit total of the trial balance, it will be 1,79,600, while if you take the credit total of trial balance, it will be 1,72,600. So there is a difference of 7,000 rupees. Credit side of trial balance is less by 7,000 rupees. So this 7,000 rupees will be recorded in suspense account guys, and this suspense account we will show in trial balance credit side. Once we show this suspense account in trial balance credit side 7,000, our trial balance will agree. So guys, here there is an mathematical error while preparing books of accounts. So we are getting the difference and that difference we are crediting it to suspense account. Then when we will rectify this error, our suspense account will get closed.